Hi guys, thanks for tuning in. I just wanted to do a little intro before you watch the rest of the video. Hindsight is 2020. I went through a whole bunch of shit to disconnect those wheel speed sensor wire and brake wear sensor wire from behind the spring perch. That now I see was an unnecessary step. I should have just soaked the fasteners with penetrating oil the day before and remove the wheel speed sensor, and I just could have unplugged it from the steering knuckle and left it hanging there behind the spring perch. So that'll save you some work. This car has a broken spring. You'll hear more explanation in the video, but while I'm in here and I had to do all of this work, I'm replacing wheel bearings because one side is starting to shimmy a little bit. So while I'm in there, I'm going to do both of them. I just put them in the freezer today for tomorrow. I want to make them contract. It'll make it easier to press them in. I also went out and I bought 3 M12 by 1.5 pitch nuts. I will be putting them on my lug bolts, so when I use the slap hammer to remove the hub, I don't damage the lug bolt. I should have did that before removing the steering knuckle, but I wasn't sure I was going to do this at that point. So now tomorrow I'm just going to temporarily put the knuckle back on the car and slap out those wheel hubs. Another thing I wanted to mention, the top nut on the lower ball joint, don't disconnect that one first. Disconnect the side of the lower ball joint nut, that nut, and then disconnect the steering knuckle from there. Then you can get on the top nut with an impact gun, okay? So 2 things that I would have done differently is leave those wires on the spring perch and take the ball joints off from the side nut. All right, guys? And I would have slapped out the wheel hubs right away had I known I was going to do this. Things changed as I went along. Since I'm going this far, I have to replace the springs because one of them got broken. I'm also going to do the shocks. This car has 130,000 miles on it. I would hate to get this job done and then have a shock start leaking on me. The fucking labor that you got to go through with this, it's not worth it. It's costing me under $300 for brake pads and 2 Bilstein shocks. So I'm going to do it all. I'm going to do shocks, springs, wheel bearings, tie rod ends, and that's it, right? Ball joints and the upper control arm and ball joint, which is a unified unit. You can't buy the upper ball joint separately. So I'm going to also do the upper control arms, but that'll be done after I get the springs, the shocks, the wheel bearings, the tie rod ends, all that other crap in there. Then I will lower the car down where I have easier access to the control arm. All right, maybe I will do it on the jack stands. We'll see. We'll see how it works with the access on them. All right, so I hope you guys enjoy the video. Be patient with me. I'm not a professional photographer or writer of auto repair guides, so but it'll get done. It'll get done right. Thanks for watching, and here we go to the video. One more important thing. Say hi to the puppies. Say hi to the puppies. If you don't like puppies, don't subscribe. Get the fuck out of here. There's something wrong with you. Puppies are great. People who don't like animals, there's something wrong with you. I don't trust you. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. Bye-bye. See you with the video. Hi, guys. Paul here at Paul Phillips Fix. I hope I'm not getting wind noise here. I'll try not to make too much noise with this tripod in my hand either. But I just wanted to show you what's going on here. I have a W210 Mercedes E430 Pneumatic. Story is hit a really big pothole on the highway and it broke the spring, bubbled out the tire, had to get all 4 new tires. But while I'm in here, I want to show you this. I can move the tie rod end with my hand, which is not a good sign. These cars are known to have their lower ball joints go. My upper ball joints are worn, so I'm putting in new upper control arms. While I'm in here, I'm going to put in new lower ball joints, new tie rod ends, new springs and new CV axles. As you can see, I hope you can see back here, the boot is torn on the CV axle, so I think the other one's torn as well. Let's go look. I'm assessing how I'm going to do this job now. This car has been sitting way too long. Is the other boot broken? Yeah, the other boot's broken as well. So I'm replacing both half shafts axles. Thinking about how I'm going to do this. So I'm going to take the caliper off, deciding what steps I'm going to take here. To get this caliper off, I would like to get it out of the way. There's a plug up here. I'm gonna get a light, go on the other side. Let me go back on the other side where I got my light. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let me just get my little pocket screwdriver. Hold on a second. There's a plug up here that connects to, I think, the wheel speeds. Yeah, it's the wheel speed sensor and the brake wear sensor. So that's what these two wires are. One is the wheel speed sensor for the ABS ESP, and the other is the brake wear sensor. So it looks like you push in on this clip to release this plug. I just got done blowing everything out with compressed air to try to clear it. So it looks like I'm going to disconnect this. That's why I'm filming the routing of the wires, so I get them right. I can put them back in right. Which one goes to the front? The wheel speed sensor mounts on the front. The brake wear sensor mounts on the back, toward the back side. Let's see if it's the same on the other side. The other side, the wheel speed sensor was on the front and the brake wear sensor was on the back. It's the same on here. Wheel speed sensor on the front of the control arm and the front of the spring housing. So I'm gonna hit this with some Miracle paint while I'm in here. You can see what's getting a little bit of rust on those spring supports. These are known to rust out. Then you'll have to weld new ones in. I'm trying to avoid that. Let me see if I got any rust on this side. No, but fenders are shot. This thing needs new fenders, and I got to repair the rust on the doors. That hopefully will be a project for next spring. The underbody does not look too bad, so the car is not really in bad shape. It's got I think 130,000 miles on it. Runs fine. I need to do a valve cover gasket on it because it's leaking some oil. And I just did air conditioning work. I did a new condenser. I don't remember whether I think I threw in a new compressor too. I don't even remember. That was last year. This has been sitting for a while, so I want to get this done before the weather turns. The end of October now, later October, and I'm in upstate New York and winters suck here, so I don't want to be out here in snowstorms. So that's why I'm getting going on this today. So I'm going to try to at least strip down the control arms on both sides for today. And then tomorrow, when Wendy's here, I'll have a little helper with me to step on the brakes while I take out the axle nuts, the axle bolts. I could do that with a broomstick, but I don't know if the broomstick is going to be pushing on the brakes hard enough. Probably would, but whatever. We'll make progress today and see where it goes. Okay, guys, I don't know if my hands are going to get in the way. What you do is you depress down on that metal wire on the top, put a screwdriver in the back, gently pry a little bit, and that plug slides out. That's how you take them out. Okay, I'll show you a close up. This wire here gets depressed down and it releases these two locks here on the sides. Then you slide that out. Then you can take these off of the housing. They just slide out of there. Be careful, old wires. I wouldn't go kinking them like crazy or going nuts on them when you pull them off. I may spray it with a little silicone to try to lube that up to get it off easier. I don't want to damage these things. I don't want to spend more money on parts than I have to. So let me try stripping these wires down now. Okay guys, these plugs go in on a unified plug that goes in, right? You can't separate them, but one of these wires runs up behind the shock and the spring tower up here. So there's no other plug there. How is that mounted in there? Is that got a fucking bolt there? Is that just a little clamp? Clip that it pops into? But there's a little clip up there, I think, that it pops into on the top. It goes over the spring tower and then around. So the only way to get this off is to disconnect the brake pad wear sensor and fish it around. You got to fish that around over the top to pull the caliper off. So I have to be mindful of that because I wind up throwing this whole thing together and get caught up on something like that. That'll be a mind fucking waste a lot of my time. So it pays to go slow and take your time when you're disassembling things. So the brake pad wear sensor goes up around the back of the spring housing, then up around to the front. I believe it's the exact same setup on the other side. Brake pad wear sensor up around the back of the spring tower and up around the front of the spring tower housing. All right, be mindful of that when you're disassembling this, guys, okay? Okay, guys. As you can see, I have a jack under the lower ball joint. I started to loosen up the lower ball joint with a 22mm wrench, and it began to spin on me. And it didn't look like I can fit an Allen key on top of it to hold it. So I loaded the joint by jacking up on it some. Not enough to take my car off of the jack stands, but it is pushing the ball joint in. I put a mixture of my own penetrating oil I make. You can do like a 50-50 blend of automatic transmission fluid and acetone. You can look it up on YouTube. There's been loads of tests. It performs better than PB Blaster, Croyle, WD-40, Liquid Wrench, a load of them. A lot of guys have seen the best results from the automatic transmission fluid with acetone. So that's what I did. It's working, and I'm going to go ahead and continue to remove that. I'm going to move you guys out of the way. There's really nothing to see. I'm turning a wrench and wiggling back and forth with it, trying to work it off easy, cleaning those threads up. I'm not trying to get it jammed on there. I'm going a little bit at a time. The birds were using this car as their little hiding spot from my dogs. Now I'm in their way, but I'm surrounded by bird shit working under here. I hosed it off and blew it out with compressed air. But it still doesn't look pretty. While I'm in here, I'm putting ball joints in. I may also do the tie rod ends and wheel bearings. This hub has a little play in it. I didn't hear any bearing noise before, but it looks like this bearing is starting to become worn. So while I have this whole thing disassembled, this would be the perfect time to do it. I have the parts. I thought I was getting a bearing noise before, and it wasn't. It was a rotor issue, I believe. But so we're probably going to press in some wheel bearings as well. The replacement lower ball joints come with the nut, so I'm going to have to reuse this nut again. Don't lose your nut, guys.
I had to do it the same way when I put ball joints in on the E430. I had the same issue with the ball joint spinning, and the jacking method worked. So got to remember the tricks you use, guys. Make things easier. All right, I'm going to do the same thing on the left side. I'm not going to film this. See if this drops down. I don't have a pickle fork. That looks like it wants to be stubborn. We'll get it out. GoPro, stop recording. Okay guys, I cut the wheel to the other direction and I leaned on the hub, and that ball joint is loose now. I gotta see if the other side is 22 mil as well. There's a nut on the back side of that ball joint. That is a 22 mil as well. I'm going to try my Nano on here. That's another Astro tool. I don't know if it's going to take that off. We're going to try though. This is only a 3/8 drive, but it's a great tool. Nice and compact. Good for getting into tight spots. I'll show it to you right now. Another one that's in the video description as well. That's the Astro Nano. They have it in 1/2-inch drive as well. I think it's got like 450 foot-pounds or something. These are claim Torx, not real torque. Came right off. Out of the socket. Let me get my hammer. Everything is being a little stubborn around here. Sorry guys, I didn't film it, but I just took the nut off on the tie rod end. That is again a 22 mil. I'm going to give it a shot with the hammer, try to knock it out. If you were reusing your tie rod end, make sure you have the nut on there so you don't destroy the threads. And that tie rod end is out. This air hammer has saved my ass so many times with things like this. What would I do if I didn't have that? If you do it with a pickle fork, if you plan on reusing it, you'll destroy it. You'll destroy the seal. This way, I could reuse this tie rod end if I wanted to. But like I said, I'm going to be replacing it. Well, guys, that's it for me today. I'm old and broken. I can only do so much in a day. I'm starting to get muscle spasm in my leg. So that was a productive day. Both spindles are out, or I don't know. Yeah, spindles, I guess, or yeah, hub assemblies, bearing assemblies. I always called them spindles, but actually a spindle is the thing that the bearing goes over. So I'm having a senior moment. I don't remember what they would be called. I'm sorry. I know how to take it apart and put it back together. I can't speak English anymore. Wendy says I'm having strokes. I hope not, God forbid. But I'm going to put the tools away, and I'll make little parts in this, part 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it takes to cut it up into smaller segments. So we will be back, guys, and we will continue with this tomorrow if the weather permits. I got to get my ass going on this because it's going to get cold. I don't see how I'm going to get to these control arms. I'm hoping I don't have to remove this ABS unit on here on this side to get to the upper control arm bolt. I don't know where the hell it is. I got to find that. I know one thing, I got to go through a weird hole, I think on the other side. One guy put a magnet and tape on a wrench and put his nut in there. But we'll figure it out, hopefully, because I have to put upper control arms in this. I was hearing a rattle. I know the upper ball joints are shot. Yeah, they can move pretty easy. They're worn out. Not swimming around in there, but you shouldn't be able to wiggle them around by hand that easily. Those are shot. They got to be replaced. So, going to be a lot of stuff put on this car. I think now I might even order new shocks while I'm at it with this job, because I'm doing all of this. I would hate to reassemble a car, drive it for a couple of months, and have one of the shocks fail or start to leak or something. So I'm going to price out some shocks today, and I may replace those as well. What the hell? I like to do preventative maintenance. I don't throw parts at shit, but this car does have 120 or 130,000 miles on it, so these things have been on there and been worked. So replacing them definitely could not hurt. I'd rather do it on my terms than in the middle of a snowstorm. So have a good night. I'm gonna do more of this over the weekend. See you soon. Bye. GoPro, stop recording.